Welcome to Mecum's Gone Farmin' Vintage Tractor Auction, featuring the only classic tractor auction of its kind in the country. Today, some of the hardest to find tractors in the world will hit the auction block. So sit back and relax and enjoy Mecum's Gone Farmin' Vintage Tractor Auction.
Hello everyone and welcome to Davenport, Iowa. I'm Mike Holland along with Max Wilson, and we'll be with you all weekend as we go through 260 tractors here at Mecum's Gone Farmin' Spring Classic. Should be a fantastic weekend, Max.
Yeah, really looking forward to the great weather and the auction with the tractors and everything. It just looks to be a lot of fun this weekend, Mike.
Folks, there's plenty of auction coming up, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. Another Allis-Chalmers, Max. This is a 1956 Allis-Chalmers WD-45 diesel, one of the ones we saw yesterday. Obviously, this one with factory power steering.
Yeah, and this is just a beautiful restoration on this tractor. Of course, WD-45s were produced from 54 to 57. Had a horsepower rating of about 39 horsepower on the belt. The power steering was not available until 1956, so it puts it a little bit later in production. The head has been redone, new injectors resealed, resealed power steering, new radiator. And this is powered by a 230-inch Buddha diesel engine. And less than 10% of all WD-45s were powered with diesel engines, so a pretty rare tractor here. And the quality of restoration on this tractor is just over the top, and justifiably so, reaching $10,000, and I believe the reserve has just been pulled on this tractor.
Yes, it has, Max. As it reaches $10,250, it's going to start rolling toward the exit ramp.
I've had the opportunity to drive one of these. I've driven a WD-45 and I've driven a WD-45 diesel, and that six-cylinder engine in there, it's just a nice running smooth tractor. As we get a great shot looking out over the hood from the operator's perspective.
And it's going to sell out at $10,250, bringing another gorgeous tractor just right across our desk, Max. This is a John Deere 4020. It's a 1971.
Yeah, and if you wanted to, the paint work on this tractor, you could shave in the paint on this. It's just got a mirror finish on it. This one here, of course, being the late style 4020, you can tell that by the oval muffler. Previous to this, it had the round muffler. This one also has a side console with single hydraulic remotes on it. It has newer Firestone tires. It's believed to only have 100 hours since its overhaul. And of course, the late style 4020s were only built for 3 years, from 69 to 72. This one has a synchro range transmission, new gauges, fenders, tachometer, lights, muffler, steps. Has the starter weights with one front pad weight on it. This one here, being a 71, would have been right in the middle of the production of the late 4020s.
And reaching the $15,000 mark. There is still a reserve placed on this tractor.
This one here, newer tires all the way around on it too, Mike. Just a beautiful tractor. The fenders are nice and straight on it. $15,250 bid on this really nice 71 John Deere 4020.
And they're going to start rolling this slow, making its exit. From This year's auction, they're going to close the bidding out. The bid will go on this at $15,600. That's going to bring us up to lot S38. It's another John Deere, but it's a 1957 John Deere 4020 Industrial. Max, this is obviously the yellow color for the industrial. Who knows, it might have been working on a road crew back in the late 50s.
Yep, yeah, probably would have been used either that or maybe in a little shipping yard or whatever, or industrial application somewhere. This one here is a 420i with the straight steer, 1957 model. And the straight steers were only made in 57. There were only 166 420 industrials built. This one also has a rare factory power steering, factory yellow industrial paint restored, and runs excellent. Nice original serial number plate. Does have the spin out rear wheels on it. And research certificate included, so it's had the 2-cylinder documentation done with a custom job code on it. So that indicates that it was an industrial with yellow paint. So
nice little tractor sitting right now at $5,500 as the camera moves in, showing you a great side view of this 420.
And of course, this one here does have new tires all the way around, does have the complete 3-point, as I had mentioned earlier.
Still sitting with the reserve. The seller is placed on the tractor. Not sure we're actually there yet, but right now it's sitting at $5,000. And they're telling me that Amanda has someone standing by, and that's always an exciting time of the show. Amanda, who do you have?
The Spring Classic could not be possible without our sponsors, and I am here with Sherry Schaefer of Heritage Iron, and she is owner-founder of Heritage Iron as well as a pilot in her spare time. So Sherry, thank you for being here, and tell me about your relationship with Mecum.
I got associated with Mecum's a few years ago at tractor auctions, and of course we're all about tractors and we love muscle tractors, and that is becoming a popular item at auctions nowadays, and so they kind of came to me and we started working together, and it's just been great. A very top-notch auction organization and bring in some good equipment.
Absolutely, and can you tell me a little bit about what you do in Heritage Iron itself?
With Heritage Iron, we promote the industry, or the hobby, I guess you call it. We promote tractors from 1960 to the mid-80s. We're kind of starting to get up into the 90s now. We quit whenever computers take over the tractors. You know, we still want the farmer to be able to push the throttle, and what happens is because of him. A lot of people are pushing digital magazines, but the farmer wants to come home at the end of the day and sit in his easy chair, and he wants to fall asleep with a magazine in his lap, not a laptop.
Thank you very much for talking with me today, Sherry, and thank you very much for sponsorship.
Thank you. I'm glad to be part of it.
Perfect. Now we're going to head back into the auction and see what's going on there.
And that's going to bring us to lot S39, which is a 1959 John Deere 330 utility.
Yeah, and of course the little 330 utility in industrial yellow, very nice looking tractor. The paint on this tractor is unbelievable. This one here, the 330Us were built in 59 and 60. There were only 247 of the 330 utilities built. This one's restored and runs excellent. New BF Goodrich tires on the rear and the front. One of 75 built, Mike, with the factory industrial yellow paint. The research certificate included with has the custom job code on it. Built as a PTO mower with the PTO with shield, foot throttle, factory lighting. One of 9 made with the factory foot throttle and listed in the John Deere 30 series book.
And obviously bringing a pretty penny here, sitting at $21,000 right now.
And of course has full set of front weights and rear weights, so a pretty well optioned 330 utility and industrial paint, one of 9 in industrial paint. And the bid's going to go on that tractor at $21,000.
And with that, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds right here in Davenport, Iowa. I'm Mike Holland along with Max Wilson, and you're watching Mecum's Gone Farmin' Spring Classic. Let's get back to the action. One of our features here that's been kind of featured up front. It's a threshing machine.
Yeah, it was a Minneapolis threshing machine company built this tractor. The serial number on this one is 994. This was restored in 2014. Has a new, has the KW Type T magneto, the Kingston brass carburetor. It is the original fenders on this. Does have a Detroit lubricator, and this is the smallest of the heavyweight Minneapolis tractors. A chance to buy a pretty unique piece of Minneapolis threshing machine company history.
And they're opening up with a $35,000, now $40,000 bid. And now reaching $50,000 bid.
And of course, right here is telling you, it speaks to how rare one of these tractors is in this kind of condition.
Already reaching $60,000, $65,000, and I'm not sure they can keep up with the bids going back and forth here. Already reaching the $70,000 mark. This was restored back in 2014, as Max just said. This is one of our featured interesting pieces of machinery that we've had at this weekend's auction. A lot of attention has been paid to this one, Max.
Yeah, and of course that tractor's sitting there running under its own power.
Very impressive as it hits the $70,000 mark.
Actually, I believe they just shut her down. I think it was getting a little warm on them.
They're now at $81,000.
83,000, 82,003.
And you often wonder how hard it is to find parts for some of these old tractors. A lot of them got cut up in the scrap drives for World War II. And I believe we've got two phone bidders on this. Travis and Audra are back there. Travis, of course, acting as a ring person, relaying the message, and Audra. And
for those of you watching on television, this really is a beautifully restored piece of American history, really. Sitting right now at the $83,000 mark.
And just got another bid in.
The reserve has been lifted. And now reaching the $84,000 mark, and then we're going to see how far this one's going to climb. Reaching an auction record here, already reaching $85,000.
And Audra back there working with the bidder on the phone.
And to buy this tractor is sitting at $85,000.
85,000, 85,000.
Great shot of the Minneapolis Threshing Machine Company logo there.
And of course, back then, a lot of that stuff that was hand painted or a stencil put on there, they weren't actually decals or anything. We just hit, I believe, 86,000, 85,000.
86. You were right, Max. Somebody pulled in a last-minute bid right before the gavel. This is where a lot of the positioning from a bidding takes place. Sometimes you don't want to bid too fast. You don't want to bid too slow, making your position known to the other bidders.
And it did not take us long to get to that $80,000 mark on this tractor.
It did not.
The paint scheme on this tractor with that gray and that dark green fender and the red wheels, it just really pops.
86,000, just about ready to close out this one.
$86,500. Sold that tractor
Sold that
$86,000. Thank you.
tractor
Give you the
at
sound of the Deere.
$86,000. Certainly going to be our auction record so far this weekend. Next, I'm just going to call it next interesting feature tractor is making its way in. This is lot S42. Max, this is a Hart-Parr 28 to 50 model number. This is interesting. This is a twin engine.
Yeah, this one here, it was the really kind of the start of the Oliver Tractor Company. That started out of Hart-Parr and their merger. This one here has about a 50 horsepower rating on the belt. It is an older restoration, runs and drives great. Has been the original owner, and the article was in 1995, November, December, Antique Power magazine. The 2850 was the last Hart-Parr tractor produced. The 2850 was also an underrated tractor. Later tractor tests showed that it actually had 46 horsepower on the drawbar and 64 on the belt. And pretty unique tractor here. You don't see many of them come across the block. It's got the, you look at those front wheels there in our shot, and they're actually solid cast iron front wheels. Does have the canopy on it. I believe that did come in standard equipment, and what it was is a lot of guys on the threshing crews, they liked having that canopy like they had on the threshing machine, so a lot of tractor manufacturers just put this simple canopy on the old tractors. It is a 616 cubic inch engine on this. I was doing a little bit of research on this tractor. There's a lot of neat information on the old Hart-Parr tractors.
And right now sitting in a $13,000 bid.
Sold to Kathy, $13,000.
And they're going to sell it out Kathy's way at $13,000.
The company name is Minneapolis Steel and Machinery Company, and they were a very large company that was formed at the turn of the last century. They started building tractors in 1909 and did so for about 30 years until the need for small farms began to show up. We needed small tractors at that point. And so when they decided to build a tractor, it turned out to really be very much ahead of the competition. They put something together that we hadn't seen yet. When I initially restored the tractor, I didn't really realize what I had yet. As I got into the restoration, became more involved with researching the company history, then I began to realize that I had a rare piece of machinery here. I had to address some wear issues, but I decided to do a full-on resto here. It came all apart. There was some problems with gears in the rear end, and those were fixed and replaced. It got a new clutch. The engine came completely apart, and I had all the new gaskets put in. An engine rebuild consisting of all the new valves. I needed it to run so that people could really enjoy it, and I needed it to run good and look good. The best features to keep in mind when looking at this machine would be the fact that it's a unit frame. All the gears are enclosed in heavy oil and running on bearings, and the 16 valve twin cam engine is truly an engineering marvel. These features are far ahead of channel iron frame tractors that were driven with exposed gears. I have decided to sell it. It took me some time to reach that decision, but I think there's other people out there like me who really appreciate history, who can see the potential that this rare piece of machinery possesses.
And that's going to bring us to lot S44, which is a 1918 Twin City. Again, this is another one of our featured tractors from Twin City. This is really interesting to see what this one's going to do here, Max. We've been waiting kind of for the last couple of months just to see, and the time has finally come. For those of you who've been waiting to see this tractor, we're going to find out right now. Again, it's a Minneapolis Steel and Machinery Company tractor.
Yeah, and of course the Twin City that eventually became the Minneapolis-Moline tractor line, but this was these were manufactured in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is the oldest surviving Twin City 1220. Production dates on the 1220 went from 1918 to 1925.
Already sitting at the $20,000 mark, and I'm sure it's going to go north from here.
And this is one of 6 known surviving Borg and Beck 1220s. Mechanically restored to start, run, and drive in a reliable manner. This was actually one of the first successful tractors with a completely enclosed transmission, which means there weren't any gears or chains or anything that ran outside. Everything ran in oil. And of course, as I mentioned before, with like that Minneapolis we had come through here a couple tractors ago, this one, a lot of these got cut up in the scrap drives for World War II. There's a whole stack of papers documenting the restoration on this tractor. It has been meticulously restored back to as close to original as can be.
And kind of sitting right here at $22,500, now at $23,000. And he has just taken the reserve off of this tractor.
Just an amazing piece of history here, and see what this thing finally ends up being hammered home at. But I really like it with those wide grousers on the back there, the angle iron plates.
And sells out at $23,000. It's a 1971 John Deere 4000.
Yeah, and this one here is set up as a low profile tractor. It's got the smaller rear wheels on it. It also has the underslung exhaust, has 2 remotes, has the double stacked front weight bracket on it. It was repainted 7 years ago. And these 4000s have been another very popular tractor. Of course, they were only built for a couple years, the 4000 being built from 69 to 72. Had a factory horsepower rating of right around 97 horse on the PTO, so also has a side console on it.
And with rare factory options, this one's already reaching the $16,000 mark. There's that famous John Deere look across the side of this 1971 4000 series. Sitting right now at $18,000 as they start to roll this one close to the exit ramp.
And you really see that paint shining there in our camera shot as it starts getting closer to that sunlight outside.
And we're going to close that one out at $18,000. The bid will go on that one. And that's going to bring us to lot S46, which is a 1920 Waterloo Boy in. Now, of course, this is only the second or third tractor we've actually had to pull in from one of our sponsors, Canal Implement. We want to thank them, and they're bringing this in, and this is impressive, Max. It's actually running, and it's coming right by through there. You see that famous kerosene tank right up front there.
Yeah, and of course the Waterloo Boy, that's how John Deere got into the tractor business, was by buying out the Waterloo Gasoline Engine Company. This one here, being a 1920 model, does have chain steer on it. It is running. Not sure why it's not moving under its own power. Maybe a little bit of a problem. These actually use kind of a cone friction clutch on them, and sometimes those just don't want to work like they should. And of course, I have driven a Waterloo Boy. They're a lot of fun to drive around. It kind of makes you think, how many times has someone else been in that seat and said, hey, I want off this thing, how many hours are it? And if you look at the seat on the back of this thing, it wasn't much to sit on. Of course, back then, most everyone was used to standing up and operating a tractor, whether it be a threshing machine or some of the big gas tractors that they had. So
right now sitting at $55,000, and now just putting it up even more. It's just reached the $60,000 mark. I don't think this is one that the crowd wants to see exit too quickly. This is really a piece of American history sitting before everyone here today.
And really, when you start looking at the history, the amount of tractor manufacturers that were based out of Iowa, of course, this out of Waterloo, Iowa.
And already reaching $61,000.
Really a nice tractor.
Again, folks, you're taking a look right there. Great shots of this 1920 Waterloo Boy in. And it starts to roll out and make its exit. Not sure we hit the...
Reserve's off!
And the reserve has just been lifted, so this is going to find itself a new home here. And they're going to find out if this has any more room yet in some of these bidders' mind. It's now sitting at $61,000. Lance, of course, looking for $62,000. They are going to sell it out at $61,000. A great piece of American history. That brings us to another great piece of American history again.
Yeah, and this one here, there were less than 897 of them built, Mike. They were built from 20 to 1926. They were rated at right around 35 horsepower. It does have an older restoration that does have a good manifold on it, which was kind of tough on these tractors to track down any good parts. It does have new cast lugs on it. And this one here in pretty much original condition. You can still see some of that stenciling on the side of the hood, the silk screen.
Oh, sure. There's that famous Twin City logo right there on the side, the original, and sitting right now at $5,000.
And of course, you see how big some of these tractors used to be years ago. They were just a big hunk of iron, so.
And a great shot of what that tractor originally looked at. Right now sitting at $8,000 bid for this Twin City. This is a 1922 model, folks. Again, another great piece of American history sitting here. Certainly appreciated by our capacity crowd here in Davenport, Iowa. Mecum's Gone Farmin' Spring Classic. And just reaching $10,000. And the bid's going to go out on that one.
Don't touch that remote. This Allis-Chalmers is coming up next.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds in Davenport, Iowa. Max, it's really been a great show so far.
Yeah, Mike, and the next one's rolling in right now.
Let's take a look. That's going to bring us up to a 1970 International 1026 Gold Demonstrator, Max.
And this here, beautiful tractor, and this is going to be starting our narrow front muscle tractor collection here. And this one here, just a beautiful restoration on this. This is the gold Demonstrator model. They were only put out in 1970. Does have just shy of 4,300 original hours on it. And this is a correct gold Demonstrator. It did have the gold paint before they restored it. They got checking it out. This one here has a factory narrow front, 3-point with dual speed PTO, hydrostatic transmission that works excellent, factory open station, mechanically sound tractor.
There is no reserve on this one, Max. It's already reached the $19,000 mark.
And the underside of the hood and the black dash are original paint and not painted so that people could verify that this was actually a gold Demonstrator from the factory. So. And of course, by the time these tractors were out, a lot of them did not come with the factory narrow fronts. Everyone had gone to wide fronts for more stability and also extra weight to keep the front ends down. And that's going to sell out at $19,000.
And that's going to bring us up to lot S51, a 1974 Ford 9600 series.
Yeah, and this one, once again, part of that narrow front muscle tractor collection. The 9600 Ford was built from 72 to 1976. Had a horsepower rating of right around 135 horse on the PTO. This one here shows 6,388 hours on the tag. Very clean, solid, original tractor. Does have the power adjust rear rims on it. When you're getting up in this high horsepower, it was kind of unusual to see those power adjust rear rims because it was tough to keep them tight.
And a great side shot there from Allie as we pull out on that beautiful blue Ford. Again, these Ford series are, I really do like where they've come from years and years, and the Fords have really made a lot of transformation over the years, Max.
Yeah, they did a lot of different things, and of course you look at how far up you sit on this tractor, and a lot of the tractor manufacturers at this point were getting that operator higher and higher up in the air. One, for better visibility, and it also got you up and out of the dust and dirt and everything else when you were out doing your farming operation.
And reaching the $18,500 mark.
Anybody else? $19,250. Sold at $19,000.
Sold at $19,000 as our next one makes its presence known. Hammering down on that throttle is this 1978 John Deere 4040 vegetable. Coming in, making quite a bit of noise there, Max. This is lot S52.
Yeah, and this one here, another one in that factory narrow front muscle tractor collection. The 4040 was built from 1978 to 1982, rated at right around 90 horsepower on the PTO. This one, the tach shows about 7,437 hours. Tractor has a synchro range transmission with the creeper gearbox and the factory convertible front axle with the proper narrow front pedestal. It also has the vegetable wheels with 18-434 Firestone tires and 750/16s for the front. This is a factory open station, extremely rare tractor. Production numbers are unknown. When you get into that Generation 2, it's kind of tough to decipher all that.
Already sitting, coming up into $22,000 mark.
Yeah, very beautifully restored tractor here. Does everything's correct on it. Does have single remote on it. Yeah, pretty unique John Deere tractor here. You don't see that many of them. And actually fairly early in production by looking at the serial numbers. So.
Sold at Shea, $24,500.
Sold for $24,500. That's going to bring us up to lot S53, which is a 1963 Allis-Chalmers D19 diesel, continuing on with our factory narrow muscle collection.
And of course, this one here is one of 154 diesel narrow front D19 tractors built. Does have the front weights with it. These were D19 was produced for 3 years, from 1961 to 1964. Rated right around 65 horse. There's roughly 8,000 hours on it, 103 hours on the new tachometer that was installed in it. Runs good and drives nice, mechanically sound. Hard to find a D19 with the narrow front. An older repaint, but it's a pretty respectable paint job yet. It still looks pretty good. Does have the snap coupler hitch on the back and dual hydraulics with a 540 PTO. Pretty nice looking tractor. We get a little shot there of the fuel filters and the oil filter. As we just hit the $10,000 mark on this D19 diesel, part of that factory narrow front muscle tractor collection. And the reserve has come off of this tractor now, Mike, as we're sitting right at $11,750 bid. As we creep right up to $13,250 here with a couple rather excited people bidding back and forth on this. We hit $14,000. I believe we just got another bid to take us to $14,250.
It is really making its way up right now at $14,500 again for this 1963 Allis-Chalmers D19. These are some of the powered narrow front power boys is what we're calling them. These are some beefy tractors moving through here.
Yeah, and of course they get that nickname from one of our sponsors, Heritage Iron Magazine. They're supposed to be, they are the pretty much the authority on the muscle tractors, and they get that name because it's right around the same time as the all the muscle cars and all that.
And that's going to bring us to lot S54. This is a 1968 Minneapolis-Moline Vista G1000 diesel.
Yeah, and this here was a very large tractor, one of the largest tractors Minneapolis made, still in a row crop variation. This one here, there were only 1,170 Vista diesel tractors built. This one here sporting its original clothes it was born in, pretty much original paint all the way around on this.
And the alley cam showing you a great shot there from the side.
And this one here shows just about 4,100 hours on the tack. These were rated at right around 111 horse. Tractor runs very nice and is mechanically sound from front to back. Does have 3-point with dual speed PTO. The front suitcase weights and the rear wheel weights on it. Looks like probably the rear rims on this tractor have been repainted, but the rest of the tractor is pretty much unmolested.
Well, we like our tractors to be unmolested. Max. And they are going to sell this one out at $14,500, obviously reaching its reserve point. And that's going to bring us to our next lot, which is lot S55. This is a 1969 John Deere 3020D. This is another big boy here, Max. Really good looking tractor though.
Yeah, this one here, nice beautiful paint job on this. Probably one of the nicest 3020 diesels we've had on here. It does have the Category 2 quick hitch on it. And of course, this is a late style 3020 that were built from 69 to 72. Has new tires and fenders, all new wiring harness, new clutch, new fuel injector and pump, rebuilt hydraulic pump, rebuilt steering pump, and a reconditioned fuel tank. So pretty much you're buying a brand new 3020. Does have the front end weights on it. and it is a side console.
Already reaching the $16,000 mark. And right in front of our booth here, one of the bidders reaching at $17,000, already at $18,000 now. Sitting at $18,000, watching closely. Is this bidder, is he going to bid? He's kind of waiting it out. And he just pulled it up to $19,000. Holding right steady at $19,500 now. Seeing if he wants to go up to the $20,000 mark. Playing a little hard to get right in front of our announcer's table. Travis has him cornered, just staring him down. There he goes, moving it to the $20,000 mark. A great back view of this tractor. It's sitting at $20,000 right now, realizing he's about to, the reserve is off. They just took the, and the high bidder sitting right in front of our table now at $20,250. We'd have to bring it up to $20,500. Great shot of the buyer there. And he decides he's taking it right on up there to $20,500. Travis giving him a signal over to Lance. As Lance looks back over to the other side of the room to see if they want to counter this offer.
Just amazing what these new generation tractors are bringing anymore, Mike. If you can do a good quality restoration, the money's there. So
right now sitting at $20,750, 21, and he has made his gesture to Travis, letting Lance know that $21,000 is now the new mark to hit. Holding steady at $21,000 as we go back and forth here. It's just kind of like a bidding boxing match here, Max.
Yeah, kind of got a slugfest going on here. They're just battling back and forth.
Really want to get a hold of this John Deere 3020D model.
We actually got a bidder that's not even in the building. Logan stepping out into the sunshine to deal with him. They're standing in opposite ends here, one at the entrance door.
Max, this bidder is going to take the bait, and I believe he's going to push it up to $21,500. $21,000, and he just did just that. $21,500 right in front of our table. He takes a step to the right, and he's out. He had reached his threshold, letting Travis know he could go no further. Sold at $21,750. That was one of our more exciting bid sections there, Max.
Yeah, there was a pretty good battle going off on that tractor.
He really did want that, and I don't think that the other one really wanted to back down. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's show, sponsored by Steiner Tractor Parts. On behalf of myself, Mike Holland, and my co-host Max Wilson, we'll see you next time at Mecum's Gone Farmin' Spring Classic.